This is CBN NewsWatch.
Thank you so much for joining us for CBN NewsWatch on this Tuesday, August 19th. I am Erin Graham. We're going to begin this half hour in the Middle East. Israel's expanded military offensive in Gaza is weakening Hamas. There are reports the terror group has agreed to a U.S. ceasefire. It's a proposal offered weeks ago. Israeli officials have not responded. They say the military offensive is putting pressure on Hamas. Paul Petit has more on our top story now, reporting from Jerusalem.
Hamas says it has agreed to the latest ceasefire hostage proposal as talks in the Middle East pick up steam. The IDF chief of staff is calling it a, quote, turning point in the war. But Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu appears to be taking a wait-and-see approach as the IDF continues its plans for the takeover of Gaza City.
I spoke with the defense minister and the IDF about our plans regarding Gaza City and the completion of our missions. And like you, I hear the reports in the media, and from them you can be impressed by one thing: Hamas is under immense pressure.
The Qatari Prime Minister met with Hamas and Egyptian mediators on a proposal that would include a 60-day truce, the release of 10 living Israeli hostages in exchange for the release of 200 Palestinian prisoners, the return of all remaining dead Israeli hostages in exchange for 10 Palestinian bodies, the temporary halt of an IDF offensive, and the formulation of a committee to govern Gaza.
Hamas, for the first time, after weeks of not being willing to discuss any deal to release hostages, even though Turkey had already approached it and Qatar had already approached it, suddenly it is on the table. The reason is clear, and we see it now in discussion. Only their fear that we seriously intend to occupy Gaza. Facing this alternative, they are willing to discuss.
The new ceasefire plan is very similar to U.S. Envoy Steve Witkoff's proposal that fell apart earlier this summer. President Trump shares Netanyahu's skepticism. He took to Truth Social, posting, "We will only see the return of the remaining hostages when Hamas is confronted and destroyed. The sooner this takes place, the better the chance of success will be." While Hamas is under pressure from world leaders, Netanyahu is facing pressure at home. Another massive protest in Tel Aviv calling for the end of the war in Gaza is scheduled for this weekend. In Jerusalem, Paul Petit, CBN News.
Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelenskyy, along with Europe's top leaders, met at the White House Monday to talk about a peace deal and to stop the war. President Trump is hoping for a trilateral summit with Vladimir Putin, but Zelenskyy wants some guarantees from the United States.
What security guarantees do you need from President Trump to be able to make a deal? Is it American troops, intelligence, equipment? What is it?
Everything. It depends on the big countries, on the United States, on a lot of our friends.
President Trump says he would make sure the peace deal would be long-term.
The security, there's going to be a lot of help. It's going to be good. They are first line of defense because they're there. They're Europe. But we're going to help them out also. We'll be involved.
Although Putin opposes Ukraine joining NATO, Trump's team says the Russian leader is open to allies agreeing to defend Ukraine, but Russian officials are already pushing back on that claim. European leaders at the summit asked for an immediate ceasefire. President Trump previously agreed, but now he's asking or saying that it's best to go straight to a peace deal.
I like the concept of a ceasefire for one reason, because you'd stop killing people immediately, as opposed to in 2 weeks or 1 week or whatever it takes. But we can work a deal where we're working on a peace deal while they're fighting.
In other news this hour, Hurricane Erin is now a Category 3 storm east of the Bahamas, and it's moving closer to the east. Forecasters say it will not make a direct hit. Instead, they are predicting dangerous rip currents and flooded roads with waves up to 15 feet in the Outer Banks of North Carolina. Evacuations are already underway in that area. Tropical storm watchers are now in effect for coastal North Carolina and parts of Virginia. Coming up, an enemy soldier couldn't see a battlefield triggered to kill. That's what U.S. Marines faced on this island of Iwo Jima 80 years ago. Veteran survivors relive the cost of victory. Stay with us. You're watching CBN NewsWatch. 80 years ago, Japan surrendered to Allied forces, ending World War II. One of the most brutal assaults of the Pacific theater took place on the remote island of Iwo Jima. To this day, veterans return to honor the fallen and remember the horrors they endured. Chuck Colton reports now from Iwo Jima.
In February 1945, nearly 70,000 U.S. Marines landed on the tiny volcanic island of Iwo Jima. What they encountered was unlike anything they'd faced before.
Enemy fire keeps us pinned down. We want to pull the beach over our heads like a blanket.
An enemy they couldn't see, a battlefield designed to kill, and a fight that would test every ounce of courage.
It was tough going. Many didn't make it.
Anything they had, they were shooting. Shovels, they were fighting with shovels. They were fighting with rocks. They were fighting with their guns, anything that they had. It was just a melee.
The Japanese defenders had turned the island itself into a weapon, fortifying it with hidden strongholds and miles of tunnels, all part of a deadly strategy that made every inch of ground a fight to the death.
Oftentimes, the United States service members never saw a Japanese person. So it is an odd battle for us. The Japanese at this time of the war were using a thing called fukaku in Japanese, which is defense in depth.
When the Marines landed on Iwo Jima, most of them didn't see a whole lot of enemy soldiers. That's because there weren't many of them in the open. Even though there were 22,000 to 23,000 enemy troops on the island, they weren't on the island so much as in the island. That's because they were in caves like this one. They had dug almost 11 miles of caves, some of them as many as 7 stories tall, under Mount Suribachi. And that's why when they dropped the bombs on the island and threw artillery at it, they really didn't kill too many of the enemy troops, because they were all safely underground. Amid the chaos and carnage, a single iconic moment gave the nation hope.
Suribachi is ours, a toehold on the southern tip of the island.
A lot of people talk about the flag raising, which happened on the 4th day, like that's the culmination of the battle, when in reality it was just the very beginning of the battle. It is an island that saw 6,821 Americans killed.
I didn't know what to think. I mean, they told us not to get real too happy over the thing. The war wasn't over. It wasn't over at all. We were going to have to push to the other end of the island.
I cried. To see Old Glory up there on that hill, God, that was something else. You can't believe that.
I was on the airstrip, and I just happened to look, and the flag went up. I said to the guy, look, the flag come up, you know. And I like the other guy said a lot of clapping. I didn't hear no clapping. All we said is about time, you know.
The Japanese defenders held out almost to the last man.
They knew they were going to die. There was no going home from Iwo Jima. Every single man on that island knew that this was the end, and they fought accordingly.
From their fortified positions on Mount Suribachi, the Japs looked right down our throats.
Red Beach is quiet and peaceful today, but on that day, the day of the invasion, it was nothing but blood and chaos and courage up and down this beach as far as you can see. The men who landed here did so with very little hope of ever getting home unscathed. And you have to think about the high value they must have placed on what they were doing to continue to charge this beach, even over the bodies of the 566 men who died here on the first day alone.
Wreckage along the beach was only a small part of the cost of 26 days of fighting. We stacked the helmets of our dead in neat piles.
More Americans died on Iwo Jima than in any other Pacific battle. But the lessons learned here would shape the future of warfare and medicine for decades to come.
To put this in perspective, we spent 10-odd years in Iraq, 14, 15 years in Afghanistan. Combined in that period, we lost less men than we lost on the island of Iwo Jima in 36 days. That's a frightening statistic. But it also is an amazing statistic telling you the advances in military medicine, telling you the advances in tactics and strategy. We learned the lessons from this battle and continue to teach them in our war colleges.
For many who served on bloody Iwo, the memories are carved deeper than the island's caves, and the cost of victory still echoes today.
My daughter-in-law says to me, why are they always honoring you for? I said, not honoring me, they honor the service. The real people that should be honored, the people in the ground. I said, those are the heroes, not the ones that came back.
8 decades later, the youngest of the veterans who survived Iwo Jima are now in their late 90s, so few remain. This may be the last year any of them are able to return, to walk these beaches once more and honor the comrades they left behind. From the hallowed ground of Iwo Jima, I'm Chuck Holton for CBN News.
Still ahead, there's a new medical condition, and you may not know that you're suffering from it. It's called tech neck. We're going to show you what it is and the ways that you can prevent it. We've got the story for you. It's coming up right after this. Millions of Americans are suffering from a new medical condition, and you might be one of them. It's called tech neck, and it's caused by being chronically hunched over electronic devices. On this week's episode of Healthy Living, a spine surgeon talks about the ways that you can avoid tech neck and what to do if you think you have it.
Tech neck is a relatively new phenomenon that's newly defined given the era that we live in now. We spend a lot of time on our computers, hunched over, putting a lot of stress on our posterior cervical spine, the back of our necks. And that hunching over and the tension that results from that is what we call tech neck.
Does a person know whether they have tech neck, and what are the symptoms?
The first thing you notice is just pain in your neck, pain around your shoulders, fatiguing if you've been on your computer for a while. I think people who are most vulnerable are people who don't have balance in terms of their physical activity, in terms of maintaining strength and flexibility, and spending just a lot of time on their computers, working diligently. It does have consequences if you don't have that balance.
So what is worse? Is it a computer or on your phone?
I think it's a combination. I think we spend a lot of time on our computers. With our phones, it's possible to be in different positions. So I think you have a little more flexibility when it comes to the phone. Well, with the computer, most people are at a desk. They're usually facing down. They're locked in for hours at a time. So I think the computer is a more vulnerable threat when it comes to tech neck as opposed to our phones.
I know that at our office, we have our computer screens at eye level, and that is a lot better than, for example, when I'm at home, I usually put my laptop right there on my desk and I look down. What are some things people can do when it comes to your computer to avoid tech neck?
You mentioned one, which is having your computer at eye level. If you're using a laptop, maybe consider putting bolsters underneath your laptop just to have it a little higher. That way you're being conscientious of your positioning and making sure you're not straining as you push your neck down. A third way is actually something that can help your entire body, which is by using a standing desk where you can actually stand up. That means you're fully aware of trying to be health conscious. You're fully aware of your overall posture, of your overall health, and you're taking a proactive attempt to stand up, have good posture, and have less pain in general as you get through your workday.
So what if somebody is feeling pain in their neck? What should they do?
The first thing is to fully characterize the nature of the pain. So if it's pain that's strictly in the back of your neck, around your shoulders, posteriorly, there's nothing radiating into your arms, then most likely it's primarily muscular. So notice how often you have it. Think about the circumstance that leads to the pain being worse. And if it's truly when you're using your computer and bent over, then try to take breaks to extend your neck, rotate it, try to take some of that tension off. If you have pain that radiates into your hands, more associated symptoms, then it could be something more. And in those situations, you may have to consult your doctor as well.
What are some of the things that a spine surgeon, such as yourself, can do?
So as a spine surgeon, I ask the relevant questions if you see me. So if your pain is associated with radiation, meaning there's pain that travels down into your arms, into your fingers, perhaps you have weakness in your arms or fingers, then I'll do a full physical exam, make sure you don't have any compromise. Based on what I'm hearing, I may get further imaging. Usually I'll begin with an x-ray, consider getting an MRI. Once I've fully understood your anatomy, then that will then determine the next steps in treatment.
Does tech neck ever go away on its own?
It can, but only if you've made the proper adjustments in your life. So if the pain is resulting from bad positioning, and if you continue in that bad positioning, then it's not going away. But if it's strictly positioning, you recognize it, you make the adjustments, and you're more balanced, then yes, it absolutely can go away.
And you can learn more about tech neck as well as how to avoid that and other issues that plague millions of Americans' lower back pain on this week's edition of Healthy Living. You can find it today on the CBN News Channel at 2:30 p.m. and then again at 8:30, both Eastern Time. You can also see it on the CBN News app or watch it on YouTube. Coming up, see how Superbook is helping to plant God's Word in Japan. Plus, your Tuesday Tweetable. It's coming up next. Japan's broadcasting industry does not allow programs with religious themes, so it is a miracle the animated Bible series Superbook has aired on national television. It aired first in the 80s and then for another 6 years since 2017. The program not only plants God's Word in the hearts of Japanese viewers, it also is used by Christian churches there to raise a generation who knows and loves God. Lucille Toulouse reports now from Tokyo.
Kids enjoying Sunday school is a rare sight in Japan. According to Pastor Makoto Kohatsu of the Kawasaki Church in Tokyo, this is because only half of the churches here have Sunday school.
It is very difficult for Japanese people to touch gospel and to watch gospel, to listen to the gospel. They are not coming to church. No kids are coming to a church.
Pastor Kohatsu believes broadcasting Superbook episodes helped because children not attending Sunday school heard the gospel by watching them on television. As a church partner of the Superbook program, some of these viewers and their parents now attend the church. Pastor Kohatsu shared how watching The Flying House and the original Superbook in the 80s made an impact in his life.
This is how I came to know about the Bible. This is how I came to know about Jesus. You know, those stories are foundation of my life. You know, when I came to know that Superbook is coming to this generation, I was so excited.
I love the way Superbook is presented. Watching Jesus resurrecting on Superbook is made more real than just reading it from the Bible. It gave more impact in my life. When I am in trouble, I know God, who has the power to resurrect Jesus from the dead, can also help me. I like watching the story about miracles, Jesus changing water into wine and healing people. I believe He can also do miracles in my life, like saving my classmates who are bad to me so they can be my very good friends.
A Superbook team from the Philippines visited Pastor Kohatsu's church and other church partners to minister to children and provide further training on its curriculum to volunteers. The team also promoted Superbook at Japan's biggest evangelistic outreach for the first time since 2018.
And after 6 years, the Superbook Philippine team has brought Gizmo, who is Rubik, to the Japanese in celebration of the completion of the 5 seasons of Superbook that was broadcasted here in Japan.
Noelle Wilson shares feedback she received from Superbook viewers.
Some of the viewers are watching with grandparents, so the grandparents watched the old version Superbook. It's different generation received the gospel through the animation. That is fulfilled for me.
The Superbook ministry in Japan continues through the partnership of the Word of Life Press Ministries.
Japanese people are very kind persons, so they don't feel like they are sinners, and they are very hard to reach to get to know Christ. But through Superbook, they can get to know the story in the Bible. It touches the people's heart.
Superbook is here to stay. We have so many more plans to. It has only been shown in like major prefectures here in Japan. We also want to be able to show it in local channels here. Japan is known as the land of the rising sun, right? This bright sun that's on my face right now. But we always say that Japan is going to be the land of the risen sun, Jesus.
Lucille Talusan, CBN News, Tokyo.
Tuesday, Tweetable. It's a message I hope will encourage you, and I invite you to post, tag, tweet, and share it with those in your circles of influence. Here's a wardrobe question with a surprising answer. What outfit do you wear most? Well, it's not your clothes. It's actually your choices, so choose wisely. Choose faith over fear. Choose life over death. Choose joy over anxiety. We're all clothed in the choices we make. Again, choose wisely. That will do it for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. Remember, you can always find more of our news programs on the CBN News channel. You can find them there at any time as well as online. That address, cbnnews.com. We'd love to know what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can email us, newswatch@cbn.com. And, of course, you can always reach out and touch us on Facebook, Instagram, and X, formerly known as Twitter. Make it a terrific Tuesday. We'll see you back here come Wednesday. Goodbye and God bless.